Wow, we got a whole picture coming up right off the bat. That's fun. Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome on in to the Garage Beers podcast. It is episode 293. I was already with just a girthy pop. Oh, yeah. But then a weird picture showed up right on the screen when we started. So
whose picks for those?
we had to delay the girthy pop.
Are we mock drafting?
Well, listen, it was a preview of what's to come later in the show. But we got a big show planned, and it's off to a great start here. We've only done this 293 times, and now we're really into it. But no, we're very glad you're here with us tonight on this wintry Wednesday night. Actually, a day that spent all day kind of raining and then snowing and all kinds of crazy stuff going on here in Cleveland. But we've got a big time show planned for you here on the OBR streaming network. We want to give the OBR a shout out just right at the get-go here. I'm going to make the magic QR code pop up right over my face. Get over to this QR code, scan it. That'll take you directly to the subscription page for the OBR. It's the oldest, largest independent Browns coverage site in all of Cleveland. So go join the OBR.com. Make sure you hit subscribe and you can be a part of that community. And you can hang out with us and talk Browns and everything else that we choose to talk about. Again, the OBR Brown-centric, but then Garage Beers, they let us talk about whatever we want to, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. So click that QR code and get over there and subscribe. With you as always, I am your host, Michael Keefe. Joining me tonight in the garage, my two co-hosts. First over on the east side of Cleveland, Chad Meyer. Out in Seattle, Washington, Joey Whalen. Fellas, happy almost Christmas, guys. Let's go. What a show we've got tonight.
Woohoo.
So if I got this straight, like fall was like 2 weeks.
Yep.
Cross
that off the list.
We got that right. Yeah. Mike, I never, ever want to hear you complain about how hot summer is ever again.
Why not?
Huh?
Why not?
Because we're now into this shit. We don't even get fall to supplement like before the winter weather. We don't even get fall. We just got to get into this shit now. I never, ever want to hear you complain about warm weather again. Ever.
I'm the least bothered right now person on the planet. I love this weather right now.
Yeah.
Just like I love the heat in summer when it first kind of gets here and it feels good outside and it's nice and it feels good when it's hot because you're so used to being cold that it feels good when it's hot. Right now, I'm down with this right now. I'm cool with it. I'm outside playing with the kids. I'm good with the cold. Talk to me in like late February, early March, and I'm going to be ready for the heat again. So I'm seasonal, man. I'm a seasonal man.
It's all right to be seasonal with beer, but not this, you son of a bitch.
Why don't you move to San Diego and don't worry about it?
I would love to. I would do it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
Yeah. Joe, how about you, man? How's Seattle treating you?
It's rainy. We're here. It's just rain and mist everywhere. Everything's flooded too.
Everything's flooded?
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right.
We've had a lot of rain.
Welcome.
It's kind of nice. It's kind of
Seattle.
moody, You have a little soup, a little pot roast,
Ooh.
It is soup season. It is big time soup season.
Yeah.
Big
with an
SZN.
SZN, soup season.
Yeah, soup season. Yeah.
Soup season. Well, listen, guys, we got a great show. Before we get into it, first, we pitched the OBR and told you to go sign up there. But while you're over there and just following things and such, make sure wherever you're watching us tonight, you hit like, you hit subscribe. That helps out as always. And get over to our socials at The Garage Beers and make sure you hit follow. Again, we are just about a month and a half away from episode 300 of Garage Beers, and we have made some progress on what that's going to look like. And trust me when I tell you that you will want to be here and involved for that, and we will be posting that stuff on the socials. So make sure you're following the Garage Beers on the socials. And again, coming up here in a little bit on the show, we have got a big time special guest. We're going to get to him almost right off the bat. But Chad and I had the opportunity to have on a friend of the show at this point. I think it's his third appearance. But Chad and I did an interview a little bit earlier today with the legendary radio voice of the Ohio State Buckeyes, Paul Keels. We'll get to that great interview as he talks to us about the Big Ten championship and the playoff and the Buckeyes and so much more. So you'll want to make sure you're tuned in for that. Plus, we'll get to the annual Garage Beers college football playoff predictions, and you will certainly want to stay tuned for that. Then we'll get into the Cleveland Browns. Maybe they've got a quarterback, and what does it look like if they do? And what does that mean for them moving forward? We'll talk about that. We'll get into some action from around kind of all of our favorite sports teams and so much more, but we can't do any of it, guys, before we follow the lead of some of you that are already in the comments and be like these people in the comments, like Phil, who says, I love the name. Phil is not a bot. Phil's got a Great Lakes Christmas ale, barrel-aged Christmas ale that he had shipped from Ohio all the way down to Florida.
You can ship them?
Well, different states. I don't know if you could ship them to Washington. Phil, Joe's out in Washington, and Joe, that's got to be in your top echelon of favorite beers.
Yeah.
So Phil, put it in the comments. How'd you get it down there in Florida?
We're gonna look into that right now. He also likes to have friends.
Smuggled it in an unmarked U-Haul. We're on to you, Phil. We're on to you.
That's true. Joe Mannix, as long as it's not coming from a boat from Venezuela, you should be fine. Joe Mannix, Treehouse, the Imperial Milk Stout. Joe, I don't know if you heard this because I think you're out that way because you get Treehouse all the time. They have like a Christmas ale. I don't think it's a Christmas ale. I think it's like a Christmas IPA, but they have that now. And I've never seen that before. And now I want to get in the car and drive out to Massachusetts.
Ooh, dude,
yes.
that's something to bring up. Are you upset now? I mean, obviously, we know. I don't know if this is public knowledge or not. I shouldn't say it, but
hold on, just hang tight for a minute.
But you're not going to be able to go out there and get your beers anymore.
Oh, I'm still going to go.
You're going to make a special trip out there?
It'll just be for fun. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
So be like them. Jump in the comments. Join the show. We've got a great show all night long, and we'll bring you into the show as we go through it, and we'll make sure your comments are featured. We appreciate Phil and Joe for kicking things off with their beers. Now it's time for us to get into our garage beers of the week. So Chad, lead us off, man. What's the beer of the week in the Meyer household?
Well, I'm enjoying another beer from the Sam Adams fall pack. Right, this is the Flannel Fest. This is the Munich style Dunkel. And they are going to it. It is a tasty beverage that I am watching the high school national championships on ESPN right now. It's actually kind of fun. Jackson Dart's brother is playing on this one team. You know what his name is? This is just like, I'm immediately just want this kid just to be a linebacker, but apparently he's a safety that can bring the wood. His name is Diesel Dart.
Get the fuck out of here.
Diesel Dart. Fucking amazing. I need that kid on my team.
But I mean, awesome name, but you have designated your kid to be a defensive player from birth. Like he can't play offense with Diesel.
It's like AJ Hawk, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you're either going to be a linebacker or a customs agent. So like Diesel Dart. Fuck yeah, you're just this safety that's just going to hit people. I love it.
Yeah. All right. So you got the Sam Adams. Joe, what about you? What are you drinking out there? You're muted, aren't you? Yeah. Go ahead and unmute.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yep.
Mike is
there you are.
You can hear me. I know you can hear me now. Everything. It's so sensitive. I can't touch anything on my desk without it unplugging.
Do you need a
This is from Astoria, Oregon. Obelisk. Something or another. Fresh Hop Sculpture Garden West Coast IP. I don't know. Bam. It's an IP.
Bam.
That's it. Boom.
Festive. Just festive as hell here. Festive as
it
hell.
Is lovely. It is lovely.
Damn,
it's quite light and piney.
Oh, all right. Just exactly what Chad doesn't want. But yeah. Yeah, love it. All right, that'll bring it to me. Oh, look, Joe knows about it. Joe knows about the Treehouse Christmas ale, Jolly Juice, Jolly Juice Christmas ale from Treehouse. Oh God, I want it. Joe, if you see it, get it, and I will drive halfway and meet you. Deal? Let me know. You know what? You know me. I'm all on the seasonal bandwagon. I love my Christmas ales, but I have to take a little break because it's a special day when my wife comes home and says, "Oh, I bought you beers and put them out in the fridge." And I'm like, "Oh, hey, you. That's
Love you.
okay.
Love
What did I
you.
What did I do to earn this love and affection?
Probably
from my
nothing.
wife?
Probably nothing.
Was it a sixer of NAs?
No, yeah, nope. No, so I think she was just at the store and she looked around and she was like, "Oh, this looks like something my husband would like," and it's something that I've had many times. But credit to one of my favorite breweries in Cleveland, Masthead. She just picked up the Hazy Headlines IPA, and it's a beer I've had a whole bunch of times, and it's a beer I really enjoy. It's about 7%, and it's just a nice hazy IPA. It's kind of like their flagship there, Hazy IPA, and it is delightful.
What's the Vinay's thing? Is that a bad Mike's reaction?
NA. No, non-alcoholic.
Oh, NAs. I was like, Vinay's. Is that something that Mike hates?
The
Vinay's.
Vinay's.
Veneers.
Like, is that like the Malort? Malort.
You know what? Tried it. It wasn't as bad as people do those videos just purely for reaction, because I tried it and it was fine. Malort was all right. It's not something I would choose to sit down and have a glass of Malort, but it wasn't as bad as people make it sound.
Sounds like a medieval drink that you just that you brew.
We were out. There was a moment there on TikTok where there were 1 billion Malort videos, and we were out. It was my wife, myself, and a friend, and we were at a bar, and they had it at the bar, and I saw it, and I was like, "Can we just get a taste of that Malort?" And he just poured us 3 shots. Because he was like, "Yeah, what the hell do I care if you guys?" And he just gave them to us. He's like, "What do I care if you guys have these?" And it wasn't as bad as it wasn't the best thing I've ever had, but it certainly wasn't as bad as people make it out to be. So, anyways,
all right.
Those are our garage beers of the week. You guys keep putting yours in the comments as you join us, and we'll flash them up on the screen. And now it's time for us to get into, if you can believe it, episode 293 of the Garage Beers podcast. And guys, normally we start with our interview. And again, we've got Paul Keels coming up in just a little bit. The interview Chad and I recorded earlier today, but I think it's just such a big thing. It's just such a big story and thing going on in the world of sports and college football right now that I think we've got to start with this.
Yeah.
There is outrageous stuff going on with Sherrone Moore and the Michigan Wolverines out of nowhere. Today, my phone gets blown up with a notification this evening that says Michigan has terminated Sherrone Moore. And that was it. It was the initial notification, Michigan terminating Sherrone Moore. Then the next batch of news starts to come out, and Michigan released a statement that said they were terminating him with cause for inappropriate relationships, of which they have a zero tolerance policy. And he had some kind of inappropriate relationship within Michigan's athletic department with somebody in the department. Then news breaks even further that it turns out it's, I don't know, there was a picture of it. We're not putting up a picture of this person, but it's a younger female from the Michigan athletic department that, again, I don't know that all of this is confirmed. These are just the reports that came out that he impregnated one of his colleagues, a younger female within the Michigan athletic department. And again, you guys might have seen more because I did my show with Fred, so I haven't really been on the socials the last couple hours. But the last I saw, and this is not really we're not doing this as a joking manner. This is a really kind of a crazy situation. The last I saw was that they have him in protective custody. And I don't know what they're charging him with. They are charging. There's a charge for him. They arrested him, but he's also, while he's under arrest, he's under protective custody because apparently he's threatening his own life with everything that's going on, and that is a horrendous. It went from holy crap, Michigan fired Sherrone Moore to, oh my God, Sherrone Moore was banging a chick in the office, and then you want to make jokes about it, to, oh my gosh, this guy's life is falling apart, and he's obviously threatening to end his own life and all that. This is I don't know I don't know what other situations involving coaches and stuff are up high in this echelon of just as crazy. This is a crazy situation for Sherrone Moore.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's I don't know what's true and what's not true, right? I mean, there's stuff flying around everywhere about this. But there's a report out there right now that he gave her like a 55% increase in pay without telling anybody. She got pregnant. She got an attorney who goes to the athletic department. And they have an emergency meeting, and then they fire him, and then he goes straight to her house, kicks in the door, and apparently he had a knife. Then he puts a knife to his own neck. Like he's crashing out hard right now. So it's like, like I said, I don't know what's true and what's not true, but this is the stuff that's being floated around out there. And I mean, if he's in protective custody, that story kind of checks out because obviously something went down. And I mean, it almost feels, I'm not trying to downplay, but it feels like a classic case of like a guy who was cheating on his wife and kids, got caught, and like is now trying to gauge some sort of sympathy because he's crashing out hard right now.
Yeah, this is it's being reported by like actual reporters that what you said is true, is that he went and kicked in the door of the person he was having an affair with and threatened to kill both of them. And I think that's why the police were called and he was arrested. But obviously, under self, protective care, and they're trying to make sure he doesn't do anything. This is just, and Keith just said it over on Facebook, and I'm going to put this up on the screen because I think it's a great comment. If a guy is contemplating taking his own life, we move quickly, and that's how I felt about this, from the realm of we're going to mock him, because I was all ready for it. I was all ready to have a good laugh about Michigan having to fire their coach, and he was sleeping around in the office and all that, to moving from that realm to needing to pray for him, send best wishes and positive thoughts for him and his family. He's married. He's got kids. Like, there's a lot of people involved here. And I don't know. This is a wild situation going down for the Michigan football program. And I thought it was shocking when they announced he was fired, right? Like, certainly they didn't have a great year this year, but I didn't think they were on the verge of firing Sharon Moore. I thought it was crazy from there, but this whole story has gone crazy, and I feel like there's only going to be more wild details to come.
Yeah, I mean, apparently there's stuff going around out there too that Michigan knew about this. Michigan knew about this for a while, but they thought if he could beat Ohio State, they could kind of sweep it under the rug for a little bit longer. It is a whole web of twisted games right now, right? Like this football program this just adds to the problems that this program has had since Harbaugh is joined. Like, I mean, again, it's not that the other problems before are as serious as this one, but this is a program that appears to have been in turmoil for quite some time now, ever since Jim Harbaugh has gone and took over. So yeah, I'm interested in hearing more details about this for sure.
I want to go back to something you said there, because I do want to bring Michigan into the loop here. And it's the same thing I felt with like Joe Paterno and Penn State and the Sandusky situation and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They put out this statement, and this is what enraged me a little bit. They put out this statement that we have a zero tolerance policy about this, and we are taking swift action, like they're being heroic. And I have a buddy that I was texting with, and he's a big Michigan fan. I'm like, holy shit, are you seeing this? And then I made a comment to him about like Michigan's being weird, being like acting like they're doing some brave act by like making this move. And I said to him, it certainly doesn't feel like they have an issue moving on from him as the coach. And he said, well, they did talk about the zero tolerance policy. And I said, man, as well as I do that if Harbaugh was still there and they were competing for Big Ten championships and national titles every year, and all of a sudden you found out that Harbaugh knocked up one of the staffers, which is a hilarious thought, by the way. Harbaugh dropped his khakis and was like fooling around with a staffer. You know damn well there's no zero tolerance policy regarding that. You would have never heard about it. It would have been swept under the rug forever, and that's the end of that. So that's the thing. Obviously, I love Keith's comment. This is not, I'm not here to mock Sherrone Moore. He is obviously going through a crisis. And these details keep getting reported by like actual reporters up there that they're getting more and more details on. Apparently, he threatened himself in front of his wife first, and then she shared his location with the police. She had his phone location. So that's how they found him. They found him in like a church parking lot. That's how they intercepted him. Like this is a crisis for Sherrone Moore, and I hope he gets through this night and understands that life goes on, man. You did something that you regret or whatever, but life goes on. But for Michigan side of things, shut up. Shut up acting like you're the heroes in this situation. We have a zero tolerance policy and we stood by it. Okay. All right. You sound like idiots.
I'm just picturing like Jim Harbaugh like trying to hit on an assistant now. Like, hey, you want to do a 32 belly option out in the bedroom? he would just have to put it in all like football terms.
Correct.
Like he was like, hey, can I teach you about the cover two? Like,
yeah. On second thought, what a ridiculous thought that is. Certainly, the staffer for Jim Harbaugh would just be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Unless it was a woman who was really into wearing khakis herself, then they would have something in common.
Man, that's an amazing thought. It's an
Just
amazing
saying.
thought.
Just saying.
Anyways, and you guys are awesome in the comments so far. Chef Brian K. right back at it. Prayers for Sherrone Moore. Phil, this is terrible. As much as we hate Michigan, that team up north, prayers for Sherrone Moore. Again, this is something that can be repaired and he can make it past. And we hope that he finds that out after kind of this crisis ends tonight. But a wild situation going on with Michigan. And from a football side of things, that throws who knows what kind of ripple effect this has for the Michigan football program. It's one of the younger teams. And again, I know it feels weird to transition from a man in crisis to the team, but it's what we talk about here. But that's a real ripple effect could happen there, where who knows what's going to happen with the coaching staff, the team. You've got young players that committed to play for Sherrone Moore in Michigan, and what does that do to their desires? This is a far-reaching, potentially far-reaching situation that's happened from a football perspective. So obviously, it's something we'll be keeping our eyes on throughout this entire process.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
Wow.
I mean, personality wise, I mean, they picked a right interim head coach in Biff Poggi, a really well liked guy. So he's going to have a lot of work from a football standpoint. He's going to have a lot of work to do ahead of himself in trying to keep a lot of these players, a lot of those players in that program, right? Because I wouldn't blame any of these guys right now with the situation that's going on. For going into the portal and wanting a fresh start in a program, because this is crazy. This is crazy. But yeah, I mean, all kidding aside, yeah, Sherrone Moore, obviously it's a situation you can come back from, right? I mean, it's again, I don't mean to like downgrade the situation, but it's like you hear cheating stories all the time. Right, you hear cheating stories all the time, and you just got to put in the work for yourself mentally and with your own family, with your own kids, and it's going to take some time, a lot of time, for them to get over this. But it can be repaired, like the commenter said. So yeah, hopefully it gets resolved peacefully.
So, anyways, that's the big news of the night, and wanted to just kind of start there because we are going to talk a lot about college football tonight before we get into pros and other things we want to talk about. But, all right, boys, let's move it on and let's talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes, the college football playoffs, and let's get to our special guest here. And again, we could say this probably about all of our special guests, but just another one that we just feel lucky to be able to have a relationship with, where we can just shoot a message and say, hey, do you want to come on with us? And he responds, sure, let me get back to you with dates. And it's always great to hear his voice, because the minute there's an Ohio State basketball, football, whatever game on, and you flip the radio over to whatever channel you listen to Ohio State games on, you just hear his voice and you immediately know, boom, Ohio State, Paul Keels. And we had the chance to chat with him a little bit earlier today about the Big Ten Championship, the college football playoff, and a lot more. So we're going to run that interview for you right now, and then we'll be back afterwards with more. So enjoy this interview with the legendary Paul Keels.
Yeah, luckily it's not a far trip, right?
All right, Paul, welcome on in to the garage. It's good to have you back. We've talked to you a couple times over the last couple of years, and it is always, always, always great to hear the legendary voice of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Welcome back in. Again, no rest for you as you cover all the Buckeye sports down there. But how are you coping after a long weekend in Indianapolis?
It's just kind of what comes with the territory. So it's a good thing, and just keep on moving along.
Yeah, luckily it's not a far trip, right?
Exactly. So it's we went back and forth day up, so it made it easy to do, and it's a good thing, because it had been since 2020 that they'd been in Indy. It had been since 2019 since we had actually gone there live to do it. 20 we had to do everything remotely, so it's a good thing to have to deal with.
I think it's something that just kind of escapes a lot of people's minds is that it has been since 2020, since Ohio State has been in the Big Ten championship game there in Indy. But, for the Buckeye fans all across the state and across the country, just talk about that experience there for a minute and going back for the first time in 5 years and just what an event and spectacle that Big Ten championship is.
Well, first off, Indianapolis does such a great job of hosting events like that. We always joke during the basketball broadcast that we think the Big Ten basketball tournament should be in Indy every year, all the time. There's so many hotels that you can walk to the arena or the stadium, so many restaurants and bars that are in close proximity. And I think with so many of the traditional Big Ten schools, let me maybe say that differently, the long residing Big Ten schools, so many of them can get there by ground transportation rather than flying. So, but they do such a great job. But, as Ohio State fans and Ohio State media people, we kind of got spoiled because it was almost a regular occurrence that they were going there every year for a while. So, and what added to all of the sizzle this past weekend was the fact that Indiana was in it for the first time, with such a big alumni base in Indianapolis, their campus being less than an hour away. So, and plus Indiana was playing a basketball game against Louisville that afternoon in downtown Indy. So it really made that city pop.
Are you a St. Elmo's guy when you're in Indy, Paul? No, you go grab a steak?
Yeah. However, I'll say this: once you've gone there a few times, then you experienced it, then the ship's kind of sailed at that point because number one, it's so hard to get in there sometimes, and it's the experience is what really makes it. So more than anything, St. Elmo's, when I can get the cocktail sauce at home and have it when I make stuff at home, that's just as good.
That is the best cocktail sauce, though. That horseradish is unbelievable in there, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to mix it with some regular cocktail sauce too, just to tame it down a little bit.
Just cut it a little bit. Yeah, for sure. So again, we see the Buckeyes for the first time in 5 years in the Big Ten championship game. And, maybe a little bit of a wake-up call. Not that I think the Buckeyes necessarily need it, but just a really tough game that the Buckeyes went and played. And obviously coming off an emotional win over Michigan, breaking that streak. And then they go in to play this Indiana team. And just kind of your thoughts going in and what you heard from Coach Ryan Day, the coaching staff. Obviously there were things that have happened over the last week. Brian Hartline taking the USF job. The signing day happens right there. It's such a weird schedule in college football and how things happen, but kind of an emotional week leading in. And then they get into that game and Indiana kind of punches the Buckeyes in the mouth and they're so physical and they really control the line of scrimmage. So just, what were you hearing from the Buckeyes leading into that game? Anything that caught your ear as far as just how they were prepared to go in there and take on the Hoosiers?
Well, they weren't going to use any of that other stuff as an excuse, both before and afterwards. Indiana had to deal with signing day as well. Maybe not the same drama. They didn't have to deal with losing an assistant coach to a head coaching job, and that's a good thing when it comes to Brian Hartline. But, this was a team that understood going in that they needed to be prepared to face the toughest team they would see all year. And now having had a chance to see Indiana in person, as good as you thought they were before, boy, they're just as good, especially, what they did on the defensive side. I mean, think about this, guys. Going into the game, Ohio State had only allowed 6 sacks all year. They gave up 5 in that game. What's that tell you about Indiana's defense and what they were able to do there? I think their defensive line and linebackers created the kind of pressure that really kept Ohio State from getting the big explosive plays, especially downfield that we're accustomed to seeing. So, and you knew what they had on offense. You lose Omar Cooper, and you thought that was really going to hamper them, but Charlie Becker makes some big plays with the catches that he made in the game. So, just more than anything, more impressed with Indiana having seen them in person. But if it's a wake-up call for Ohio State, then that's great. They've shown the roadmap now with what they did last year of how to bounce back from a disappointing loss and use that, if they choose to, as motivation to move forward and get into the playoffs.
Paul, I want to ask you, and this is no offense to Indiana by any means, but I mean, Indiana hasn't been very good at football for a really, really long time. And, even with the Oregon win this year, I feel like the national perspective, especially, not the Buckeyes, obviously they weren't going to take Indiana lightly, but I feel like the national perspective was still like, okay, how for real is Indiana? Yeah, they had a great year last year, but they didn't play anybody until Ohio State and got beat. So, I mean, has this obviously the obvious answer is yes, but like, what does this win over Ohio State do for the program in Indiana to really kind of cement them as, hey, they've arrived, they're here, they're a program to watch out for the foreseeable future?
It further solidifies what they've done. I think the Oregon win really got a lot of people's attention, and there are those that still say they think that might be the single biggest win by anybody in the college football season, going to Autzen Stadium and winning that game the way they did. And throw in there winning at Iowa, which is not an easy place to play. And let's not mistake Iowa for one of the top teams in the country, but they're still a difficult place to play. And then, Penn State, when they had Indiana at home, they seemed to have gotten some things figured out once they had to adjust to using Ethan Ruckermeyer at quarterback. So, but the win over Ohio State will further solidify what they've done. I mean, here's the thing that a number of us thought about after that game. When you look at what Curt Cignetti and his staff have done, not only a great job of coaching on the field, but their job of talent evaluation, bringing the guys they brought from James Madison, getting a guy like Fernando Mendoza, who at one point was the fifth-string quarterback at Cal.
Right.
And coming out of high school, the only offer he had was from Yale right away. But being able to see something with him that made him most likely the Heisman Trophy winner now. So, they've just done a great job of looking at what pieces they had. But, Curt Cignetti also immediately changed the culture at Indiana. We saw every year how bad they were. They had some flashes with Kevin Wilson as coach. Tom Allen got them defensively to where at times they were competitive, but they certainly were nowhere near what they've become, and nobody would have ever seen that coming.
Yeah, I want to go back a little bit to your observation before and talk about how Indiana was able to get pressure and really control the line of scrimmage, and they really did it on both sides of the football. But when you talk about the pressure they were able to get on Julian Sayin and the 5 sacks and the way they defended Ohio State, when you guys analyzed it on the broadcast, did you analyze it in a way where you think this is replicable by other teams? Is this going to be something other teams watch the way Indiana? Did they do anything special in your eyes that you saw that another team could take advantage of and that could make Ohio State vulnerable? Or was it more, man, those guys just came to play and they just had that little extra gear in them and they were able to win their individual matchups?
Well, we know football's a copycat sport, so obviously they picked up some things that some folks were doing, but we never saw people all year get pressure on Ohio State and on Julian Sayin like Indiana did. So I think it speaks more to what they were able to do. And, I defer to my analyst, Jim Lachey. He talked a lot about, there were some slants and some angles, whatever that means, that Indiana was able to do to take advantage of. They may have exposed some weaknesses in certain areas on Ohio State's offensive line. But I think there's also some of the questions that come up. Okay, what did Ohio State do on third down and short before they got to the fourth down situations? And knowing how Ryan Day and his staff are, they're going to sit there and scrutinize what they did. What should they do different in similar situations? I think we saw during the course of the year, Ohio State had really good success on third down and fourth down, and they just weren't able to do that against this Indiana defense. So they know that whoever they play next is going to try and pick up and do what it is that Indiana did. And offensively, I don't know that you're going to see a quarterback make plays like Fernando Mendoza made with the throws he made to Becker and Surratt. Their running backs, Kalen Black, was certainly more than outstanding with what he was able to do. Their offensive line is an experienced offensive line. So, I think there were a lot of things they did that will show people, future opponents, these are things we need to try and incorporate when you play Ohio State. But it also has shown Ohio State the things they need to work on.
Paul, I wish they were playing tomorrow because I am just beyond curious to see the bounce back. Right? I mean, all year long, whenever Julian's made a mistake, how few. I guess, yeah, I'm speaking specifically in terms of Julian saying, whenever he's made a mistake, albeit the very few that he has made, nothing ever seemed to rattle him, right? He's got a very Joe Burrow-like demeanor to him, right? Nothing seems to bother him. But when you come off a big loss like this, and especially going into the playoff, last year we had Will Howard. We had a fifth-year guy, very experienced, very, knows how to come back from these things. This is going to be Julian's really first chance to see how he handles adversity. What are your thoughts on him bouncing back, going into the playoff?
But if you remember last year, too, they were playing a home playoff game rather than getting ready to go on the road. There was some motivation there. I think there was some motivation last year because and Ohio State's players have talked about it. When they came out of the tunnel that night and saw all of the orange from the Tennessee fans that had showed up, that was a motivating factor. But they know they're going to play a good team, whether it's Texas A&M or whether it's Miami. This will be the third straight year they've gone to Arlington, Texas for a bowl game, so they're somewhat familiar surroundings. They know what they're dealing with there. I think there's people that maybe have a concern. Could they play Texas A&M in Texas? Would that be a problem? Well, it wouldn't be any more challenging than playing the Longhorns in Arlington last year. So, but agreed, it would be nice to see him get right out there right away. However, this period of time is going to allow him to get healthy because everybody's banged up this late in the football season. It's also going to allow these coaches to kind of put their heads together and figure out what didn't go well. One of the things Ryan Day said all year, issues are always there. Even when they were beating teams by 3 touchdowns, there were always those things to be concerned about. So you'll see this team take advantage of that time, make the most of it. And Ryan Day has been very good over his course of time as a head coach at tapping into whether it's their strength and performance staff, his assistant coaches, whoever. How can they do the best things they can do to take advantage of that time?
This may be a little bit ambiguous, and we've got a couple questions on the playoff here in a minute, but I want to ask one thing before we get to it. We've had former Buckeyes on this year that we've talked to. We've had people that cover the Buckeyes on this year that we've talked to. And it seems like everybody has this kind of consensus that feels like there's a different side to Ryan Day after they won the national championship. And, obviously they had the Michigan thing for years under Ryan Day. And it just felt like that championship opened up kind of this other side to Ryan Day, this kind of more toned down as far as just like emotion side of things, but also this very like laser focused, it felt like, side of Ryan Day. You actually get to talk to him a little bit. You're around the program all the time. Is there anything that you put your finger on that you feel like, yeah, Ryan's a little bit different after they won the national championship last year? And, he's got a different side to him or a different nature about the way he's doing things.
No, really haven't seen anything different. And in our role, we do get a little more access than what other people do. And Ryan has been just phenomenal to work with the things, because we pester the head coach for a lot of things: pregame interview, daily interviews, weekly radio show. He's been fantastic through it all. If there was a change, and not only just him, I think the week of the Michigan game, you saw him doing things just like they had done every other week. There'd been subtle changes that in the past he and other coaches have done. They've had, some of the motivation music blaring through the Woody Hayes complex. They didn't do that this year. They didn't change when they had their media availability, which they've done in the past at times. Nothing. I can't really tell you that I've seen any change because and most of the media people will tell you, they really appreciate how forthcoming he is, other than the fact he doesn't give you much injury information, but he's been consistent with that. But he's just been very consistent with how he's dealt with people. The focus has always been there. I think you saw the focus even when he had the 3 games when he was the acting head coach in 2018, which is why it led Ohio State to realize that he was probably the guy they needed to elevate, because if they didn't give him the job, somebody else was going to give him one. So I can't tell you that I've really seen anything different from my corner of that.
So heading into the playoff, obviously we got to listen all day on Sunday as people screamed at us that this was the most controversial playoff situation of all time, and that we've never seen anything like this. And they say it every year. But the fact is the 12 teams are set. We know Ohio State has the bye. We know Ohio State was not punished really for losing in the conference championship game. They went from 1-2. Very similar to Alabama, not really punished for losing their conference championship game. But just from an overarching theme, we kind of know what things look like there. Just your thoughts on this year's playoff field and how the committee went about it.
Well, there's going to be quirks in any system. When it was just trying to figure out 2 teams to play for a BCS title, you had arguments. When it was a 14 field, there certainly were arguments. Even once this gets expanded, there'll still be similar arguments. But there were some failings in all of this. The fact that this committee for a few weeks kept rating Notre Dame ahead of Miami when Miami had beaten them head-to-head, and then all of a sudden, the last week, they changed things. That creates some drama. Certainly the fact that you had and I still don't understand it, maybe you guys do, the crazy tiebreaker in the ACC, which really left them where their team didn't get in. And that's no fault to Duke or Virginia. They did what they were supposed to do on the field to get there. And, you have Notre Dame as the outlier. Notre Dame, who doesn't play in a conference, doesn't have the opportunity to get the extra data point to play in a conference championship game, whether it helps or hurts. And there's the argument, even if a team gets to a conference championship game and loses, should there be some credence to the fact that they got there? Should teams that don't get there be rewarded for not being there? And honestly, what I think it's going to do, it already has done, is it's put these conference championship games in big questions. Why do you really need those other than the TV partners? They're the ones that really benefit from all of this. So having said all of that, I think mostly they got it right. It was a nice thing that Ohio State didn't fall any further than 2. There was no thought really by a lot of people that they would fall outside of the top 4. Can you find fault with the fact that you had 2 group of 5 teams get in it? Yeah, you could find fault with it. Could you find fault with your having a rematch with Tulane and Ole Miss? Yeah, possibly. How was Ole Miss affected? And it didn't seem to be adversely affected because of the Lane Kiffin situation. So, but, even with the NCAA tournament with 68 teams, they're still always complaining.
Yeah, for sure. And, there's, like you said, Paul, there's going to be arguments from every team that thinks they should be, and every team in the top 25 thinks they should be, right? They're always going to make their case. There's always going to be a school upset about something.
Sure.
But there was something that happened that really grinded my gears this week. And that was, I saw this memorandum that apparently Notre Dame has signed guaranteeing them a playoff spot if they're ranked in the top 12 next year. To me, that's opening up, that's a very dangerous Pandora's box that you're opening up, because it feels like any team that is even close to the top 12 can even make that case. Because BYU was number 12 this year. And are you going to give them the same treatment? Because technically they deserve to be in 2. I think that's a dangerous game we're playing here. I don't know what your thoughts might be on that.
Well, absolutely. And, and it's been easy this week to pile on Notre Dame. It really has been. And I'll start by saying this. Think the world of Marcus Freeman. When he was a player here at Ohio State,
for sure,
as an assistant coach, the job that he did at Cincinnati when he worked under Luke Fickell, he's an easy guy to root for. But, this just shows where it appears that Notre Dame is trying to act and portray themselves as bigger than everybody else. And, it's really something now that they're taking the shots. They're taking it at ACC, who has bailed them out with allowing all of their other sports to be in their conference, is given them the scheduling agreement that they have. Notre Dame seems to be acting like they're in their own universe and it's different from everybody else. Now, here's the problem. They were playing some of the best football going into the end of the season for their 2 losses. Yeah. But those 2 losses have to matter. They have to be taken into consideration, just like teams that have big wins are taken into consideration. In our lifetime, will we ever see Notre Dame get into a conference? Who knows? But you would think and hope that this might be a big slap in the face to them to say, hey, look, you need to kind of get in line with how everybody else plays this game.
Well, and I think it's really interesting. You brought up, the fact that we were doing these weekly shows with these weekly rankings. And then they come out and say at the end, those shows are the style point shows. This is the kind of week by week style point rankings. But we're not going to give you the real rankings until the end of the season. Then what are we even doing? Why do we even need the week by week rankings? Just give us the rankings at the end of the year if we're going to do it that way. Because, again, I will tell you, as much as I don't feel bad 1 second for Notre Dame, and I love Marcus Freeman too, no disrespect to him, but I don't feel bad for Notre Dame. I would, if I was a Notre Dame fan, I would be like, what happened? How did this happen? Week after week after week, we get told that we're in a position to be in. And then the end of the season comes around and nothing changed. And now we're not in like that. They've got to knock it off. They have to be consistent with what they're doing.
They were kind of seduced to think that they were in a good position. And, and look at their schedule after the first 2 games. Now, they beat who they had on their schedule and they played well. But that schedule's not going to compare to what somebody in the SEC did. It's not going to compare to what somebody in the Big Ten did, nor somebody in the Big 12. And you can almost argue that it's not as competitive within its ranks as some of those Group of 5 teams, especially the 2 that got in there. So and here's the other thing, and I'm sure you guys have thought about this and talked about it. This decision not to play in any bowl game. Number one, not that it matters to Notre Dame, but so there's money they're not getting. Number 2, it is keeping guys from playing football that want to continue to play football. Yeah, she'll have guys like Jeremiah Love that'll opt out to get ready for the pros, but there are other players who aren't. And it also keeps them from having the 15 bowl practices that will allow for development for other players. So that sets a bad precedent. You understand why some of these schools with coaching changes and massive losses in the transfer portal don't want to play. I mean, remember what Marshall did last year. I mean, they were bowl eligible, but with so many players left, they couldn't field a team. And, Iowa State and Kansas State maybe are in that same predicament. But, it's not a good look. That's maybe the best thing to say.
Yeah, and all the seniors on Notre Dame, too, that aren't going on, to the pros. You're going to rob them of one last game, too, and that whole bowl experience.
Yeah, and, and it also points the question is, what purpose does the non-playoff bowl serve anymore? Because when you watch those on TV, you see the attendance is not very good. And it's unfortunate because the bowl experience, even, many years ago when I was doing games for University of Cincinnati, they went to the Humanitarian Bowl in Boise, and it was their first bowl game in almost 50 years. And it was a great experience for everybody involved. If you get programs that haven't been used to going to bowls or those that, you look at Iowa and Wisconsin, even though Wisconsin's not going this year, Iowa, they're going to the Music City Bowl in Nashville. Their fans will flock to Nashville because it's a destination. They'll flock to games in Florida because it's good weather. But, what this decision for Notre Dame did, and they would have been invited to a premier bowl, you would think. But it takes that opportunity away.
So quickly, as we get ready to wrap up with you, Paul, we just kind of look at the Buckeyes in this playoff, obviously getting the bye as they drop to the 2 seed after that loss. And if we just kind of look at their half of the bracket, they're going to take on the winner of Miami and Texas A&M, a game that'll be happening in College Station. That'll be crazy down there. So it'll be the winner of that game versus Ohio State. And then on that side of the bracket, also, you've got Tulane, Ole Miss, and Georgia, a team that obviously Ohio State has seen in the playoffs before. So just kind of your thoughts on how things line up for the Buckeyes.
Well, there are those that think that they would have been better being a 3 or 4 seed because of Georgia's presence. Georgia's playing some very good football right now. Stockton has really solidified things in the quarterback position, and they had an impressive win in the SEC championship game. I think, Texas A&M and Miami, a lot of the so-called experts are going both ways, predicting who they think will win that football game. Texas A&M kind of flirted with danger their last 2 weeks. They won one, they lost one. But, I think what Ohio State's good, they're going to be motivated regardless of who they play. They're going to be anxious to do what they can to get the taste of losing to all due respect to Indiana, like you said, and they were willing to give Indiana the credit they deserve for winning that football game. But they're going to be motivated to try and put that further behind them. You hope that it's kind of the same motivation, different but similar to what happened last year when they lost to Michigan and went on that run.
Well, we're going to find out in a couple of weeks. Obviously, the college football playoffs getting ready to start, and you can listen to the college football playoffs and Paul Keels and all the other Ohio State sports that Paul does. Again, no rest for you. Oh, you got basketball going on. Just real quick before we let you go, how's the basketball team looking?
Well, tough loss last night. They lost to number 13 Illinois. That's a team that could make the Final Four. But it's an improved season. I think the transfers Jake Diebler has brought in have really helped them. They're coming up to Cleveland this weekend to play West Virginia at Rocket Mortgage. And then after that, they've got North Carolina down in Atlanta. So it's an improved basketball team. Their goal is to get to the NCAA tournament. I think the Big Ten is loaded at the top. I don't know that this is a program that can compete for a Big Ten championship game, but just getting into the NCAA tournament is kind of the overall goal. But it's an improved basketball team.
Well, your voice is the one behind all of them over the airwaves, and we really appreciate you being a friend of the show here over these last few years, and we appreciate you taking your time here to join us to talk a little Ohio State Buckeyes in the college football playoff after another great season. Congrats on getting towards the end of another season calling Buckeyes football, and have fun calling them throughout the playoffs. We'll be listening, but Paul, we really appreciate you taking your time to join us here today.
My pleasure. Glad to do it, guys.
How about Paul Keels joining us right after that Big Ten championship game to talk a little bit of Buckeyes and college football? And I love his insight, and I love his presence, and I love everything he says. but there's just that other side of me that I just want to hear his voice all the time. I just the voice hits and I go, he could have been talking about his favorite movie. Joe, whatever you said, it looked funny, but it was muted. He could have been talking about his favorite movie of the year, his Academy Award picks. I don't think I would have cared. Just give me Paul Keels talking. That's on the Mount Rushmore of things. I think Paul Keels talking is on it.
He should do like a bedtime stories like audiobook.
I literally was gonna say that.
I'd listen to it.
Football bedtime stories.
Hey Alexa, play Paul Keels, whatever. It's Hungry Caterpillar.
It's a great one.
It was in the meantime, crisp fall night, 1982. Like, oh my god!
On Monday, he ate through one apple. In the meantime, while we're on, listen, getting nice comments. Chef Brian K. Love Paul, great guest. Joe Mannix, nice interview. But in the meantime, this is a preemptive asshole. I have 2 assholes of the week already lined up, but I'm giving another one out. And this is going to go to Phil and Chef Brian K. for the conversation that they were having through that whole interview, talking about how Chef Brian K. and Phil are making like bread and muffaletta sandwiches and like big Cuban sandwiches. And I'm like, now I'm hungry. I read the whole damn conversation about them going back and forth about baking fresh baked bread and having like a party. And now I'm hungry. So real nice, guys. Real nice. While I'm trying to listen to Paul Keels, now I'm hungry.
Man, nothing gets Mike going like some food talking Paul Keels. Okay?
You're damn right.
You guys should know this.
You're damn right. No, Paul was great. Big shout out to Paul Keels again. He'll be on the radio call from Arlington when the Buckeyes are taking on the winner of Texas A&M versus Miami. So big shout out to Paul for joining us. Speaking of the tournament, now we're going to transition real quickly while we're on college football to the annual Garage Beers college football playoff prediction segment of the show. I feel like we should have music for this, but we don't. So let's put this up on the screen, boys. And here is the official college football playoff bracket. And you'll see Ohio State takes the loss to Indiana, a close loss to Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. It does not really punish them. Ohio State drops from 1 to 2. I think that's extremely appropriate. I would have understood if they put them at 3, but I think that's very appropriate. When we just look at the teams that are in, let's just talk about some of the quick storylines, guys. One, while I think it's very appropriate that the loss to Indiana, the close loss, that really they should have tied that game if not for an errant field goal attempt from like 4 yards out. While I agree with the committee that shouldn't have really damaged Ohio State's reputation, then we get to this Georgia-Alabama situation. And now I've got real questions about, like, you don't want to punish teams for getting into their conference championships, but like those games have to mean something, win or lose, right? Like if you win your conference championship, it's got to be the boost of boosts. But if you get there and you lose, it's not you. I hate the fact that they're like, well, we're just going to ignore it. Like it didn't happen. People talk about it like it's a bonus game. It's not a bonus game. It's a game. And like Alabama went and got their doors blown off by Georgia. And, you know, all the talk was Miami or Notre Dame or whatever. But I really think the team that should have been way more on the bubble than those two teams was Alabama. Like, that's loss number 3 on the year. And you got shellacked. Like, it wasn't close. I don't know. I feel like on one hand, you could justify the Ohio State thing because it was a very close game between the 1 and 2 seed in the country, and that's fine. But now Alabama, like that's their 3rd loss. Like that'd be the team. If I was a Notre Dame fan, I would be much less upset about Miami getting in because we lost to Miami. I'd be way more upset about Alabama getting in over us. That's how I would feel.
I think that's totally fair. I also I don't know. do we just do away with the conference championships as far as like implication? Like you got to pick one. I feel like it's just you're gonna have like the JMUs and the Tulanes coming in to this bracket with the current setup of Power 5 most dominant record gets in, I guess. But like, can we just pick the best teams? I also like don't really care. Like we're arguing about a Notre Dame team that was like okay this year.
Now, I think Alabama is the one team in this bracket that kind of just goes back to my problem with the playoff committee in general. And this goes back to them them picking the top 4 teams. It's that they have this criteria that they speak of, right? They have this all of these check marks that you have to check off, and whoever checks off the most check marks is going to get in to the playoff, whether it's the eye test, whether it's conference championships. We're not going to punish you for playing in your conference championship game. Your big wins matter, but also your big losses also have to matter as well. And that hasn't really, the eye test, right? If you're going by the eye test, Alabama hasn't played good football for the last 3-4 weeks.
Right.
They haven't played good at all. But I think if the committee came out and kind of gave a list of something about how they prioritize this criteria, right? I think that it would better explain things. I think people would have less of a problem with all of this, right? Because Alabama, for all intents and purposes, they should be out. 3 losses. 3 losses should be out.
How about this? If you don't have, maybe there is some still semblance of a conference championship, but like, what if you replace those with a play-in game?
Yeah, sure. Right? Like Alabama and Duke should play a play-in game, right? Because Duke won their conference. I know it's 8-5, but I mean, if you're talking conference championship games, which supposedly they matter, but apparently they don't because the ACC champion isn't in, and it's a 5-loss team. So you're hitting these catch-22s with all this criteria that you come up with, which is obviously arbitrary. So maybe something like that would be a solution.
I would rather have, we talked about this with Paul, but I'd rather just have them come out at the end of the year and be like, all right, these are our 12 best teams in college football. This is the ranking. Because they do these shows weekly that are, they told you this year. And I hope you all remember next year and years after that, those weekly college football rankings that come out don't mean anything. Like that. Again, I don't feel bad for Notre Dame, but like, if I was a Notre Dame fan, I'd be like, how we've been ranked over Miami all season long. And then all of a sudden neither one of us played a game, but they jump us and make it. We don't get in. Like, what was the point of those shows? What was the point? There was no point. It was just to get people talking about college football because they came out and said it. They said, those are just like a talking point rankings, but we're not going to give you the real rankings until we have the complete resume of each team. That was the quote. Well, then why are we doing it? Then why are we doing the rankings? I personally feel like they got it right when it comes to Miami versus Notre Dame, because I do think the biggest thing in that matchup should be the two teams played each other. And I don't care when it happened. Everybody's like, well, that happened early in the season. Well, and Notre Dame lost. It doesn't matter when it happened. I do think that. Again, I think the gripe is Alabama. Why did and why are they ranked? Why were they the first of that group of teams in and not the last of that group of teams in? Like that I don't understand. The other thing, guys, I have said for years that I think that the group of 5 teams should have something to play for. And I've advocated for them to be able to get into this so that at least one of them every year has a chance to win a national championship, because otherwise they're playing for nothing. Congrats on a great season. You went 12-0 or whatever, and you're going to play in the Motor City Bowl. Like, that's what group of 5 teams have to deal with. But now that it's worked out this way, I'm like, okay, something's got to change. Because as much as I think Congrats to JMU for getting in. Congrats to Tulane for getting in. And again, I'm the last guy that's going to stick up for Notre Dame. But, like, no shot either one of those teams should be into this over Notre Dame. No shot. Those two teams. Listen, Tulane, and I'm sorry. I think it's Phil. Was it Phil that is Tulane? Yeah. Phil is a Tulane alum in the comments. I'm sorry, Phil. I'm sorry. And I know you said they can beat Ole Miss. No, they can't. No, they can't. And I know what happened in the regular season is not always a precursor to what's going to happen in the playoff. But Ole Miss beat Tulane by like 100 points in the regular season. That's not just going to change. And I'm glad Tulane is in, or James Madison is in. But now that you got both of them in, and like a team like Notre Dame at 10-2 that went on a 10-game winning streak to end their season, even though that was the easy part of their schedule, like this, that sucks. That sucks, guys. I don't know if you guys have any like feelings on that, but I think it sucks.
It's early on. They got a lot of kinks to work out, I think, with this bracket. I think, from the fan side, we just want like guidelines to adhere to. Like, why does it have to be a mystery, a couple days before they release the bracket? Like, we should be able to know kind of who's going in here. And for all these kind of, well, we decided to use head-to-head this year, or we decided to use strength of schedule this year. Like, let's just get a standard. What's the standard? That's all I want to see.
Again, I kind of go back to these guidelines, right? What does Notre Dame? Sure. I mean, I think the only thing they pass for you is the eye testing, but again, that's against the softest part of their schedule,
right?
They went on a 10-game winning streak, but under what? That's the only box they check. They're not in the conference. They didn't play in the conference championship game. The two ranked opponents they played, they lost to.
Yep.
Right. So where under these guidelines, under the supposed criteria that they have, does Notre Dame fall? It doesn't fall in any of them.
Correct.
It doesn't fall in any. Yes. Okay. Sure. They beat the one ranked team that they played last year, and they went on a run, but they didn't do that this year.
But I do think there's a fair element of saying. And again, I'm an advocate for the smaller teams and schools, but I do think there's a very fair element of saying and being real honest about college football and saying, if Notre Dame played James Madison tomorrow, Notre Dame beats them by 30. They do.
Sure.
And that ultimately has got to be part of the discussion. Like, come on. And I hate I would rather never see Notre Dame in this until they join a conference, but like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, we got to get the best teams in here.
I agree, but also we're gonna have the same conversation next year because and we can get into that. But
on the pros, and Joe, you bring up a great point. On the positive side of it, guys, I will always appreciate the fact that we're arguing about whether the 10th, 11th, 12th best team should get in, as opposed to the third. Like when it was BCS, it was like second, third, or fourth team, or the fourth, fifth, sixth best team. I don't, like ultimately I'm not going to feel bad for Notre Dame because you're the 10th, 11th, 12th best team in the country. Like you didn't do enough to be in, like locked in, ready to go.
1 through 8 was absolutely nailed in this bracket. 1 through 8 is perfect.
And I want to point out exactly what I said to Paul Keels again, boys. Nothing about this. There's plenty to argue with. But nothing about this is the most controversial. I heard them saying that on the ESPN special 1,000 times. This has got to be the most controversial. This has got to be the most. No, the hell it is not. You guys, this committee a few years ago left out an undefeated Florida State team that won the ACC championship, and they just left them out. That's the most controversial thing that's ever happened. I know their quarterback was hurt, but that's the most controversial thing that's happened with this. This isn't controversial. This is arguing. There's not a lot of arguments 1 through 8. This is arguing about 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, how it should go. That's not controversial. So that's a great point, Joe. Anyways, guys, let's go through. We see the bracket. let's go through and do our official projections and predictions. The top 4 teams: Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech. Easily the top 4 teams in college football this season. Not a single argument out of any of those. And they all belong exactly where they're at. They're going to get a bye. So let's start with the side of the number 1 team in college football. And kudos, man. Kudos to the Indiana Hoosiers. And I've talked a lot of shit about Curt Cignetti because I hate when people talk before anything actually happens. But he made it happen. Him and his boys made it happen. The Indiana Hoosiers beat the Ohio State Buckeyes in the Big Ten Championship. They will take on, and I think this is a fascinating matchup, guys. It's a rematch. The Alabama Crimson Tide going to Norman, Oklahoma, where they lost already one time this year, taking on the Oklahoma Sooners. How do you guys see this going?
Man, I got to say, I'm just thankful to be on the right side of the bracket. I would much rather be on our side where we are right now than on this left side with potential routes of Indiana, OU, Alabama, Oregon, Texas Tech. Like, just a lot going on over there. I just really hate Alabama. I think they just get smoked. That their performance against Georgia was just abysmal and sad to watch. And, that program is starting to improve under their new regime, but like, it's not the same Alabama. I don't see them winning that game at all. Not close either.
Yeah, I mean, with the way Alabama's been playing the last couple of weeks, I don't see how they come out on top here, especially with that super stingy Oklahoma defense. I'm not the biggest John Mateer fan. You're right. Oklahoma's offense isn't really that great. But I think that stingy defense, combined with them doing just enough on offense, also combined with Ty Simpson has been regressing the last couple of weeks. I think Oklahoma wins this one again, and it probably in a little bit more of a wider margin. It was a 2-point game. Oklahoma win the last time, but I think it's going to be, I think Oklahoma's going to come out on top of this.
We're going to make it a 3-for-3 sweep on this. I think Oklahoma loses this game if Mateer goes bad Mateer.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you, Chad. When Mateer is good and he's making those like crazy plays and keeping things alive and using his legs and all that, Oklahoma's good. But if Mateer turns the ball over and Oklahoma gives up possessions, they're not going to beat Alabama. I don't think that'll happen. I think Oklahoma knows how to beat Alabama. They've already done it once this year. I think they're going to do it again. And I think Oklahoma will move on to face Indiana. Go down to James Madison, going out to Eugene, Autzen Stadium, to take on the Oregon Ducks. Ducks team that has played pretty darn well as of late after they took that shellacking to Indiana. So start with this James Madison side. Do they got a shot out there, or is their season going to end this night?
You can go ahead, Chad.
I
see it.
That's okay. I think JMU is a really good football team, right? I think they're very well coached. Bob Chesney is heading out to UCLA. I really like it. I mean, they're the epitome. JMU's the epitome. It's like a factory right now of division, like ready to go Division I college coaches, right? Or ready to go big school Division I college coaches, right? It's kind of like how the Guardians are a farm system for everybody else in the major leagues. JMU has been the coaching factory for Division I college football. So I like their quarterback, the transfer from UNLV, the kid who left the program just right in the middle of a great season for UNLV. Matthew Saluka, I think is his name, Skula, whatever. I think he's great. They got a great running back. If they can get that running game going, I think they have, they have a chance in this game to keep it close for a quarter and a half, and then Oregon's going to pull away. So Oregon is going to win this game by a wide margin in the end, but I think JMU is able to keep it close for a little bit.
I agree, and I'm going to add on to that and say that I think Oregon's the team I'm scared of most in this playoff bracket. I think they have a good shot of going the distance here, at least getting to the final.
Well, we're going to make it 3-for-3 for the second matchup because there's no shot. I don't think there's a shot unless Oregon comes out. Listen, the only shot JMU has is if Oregon just doesn't think about him, and they look ahead to Texas Tech and that defense, and they just start planning for that, and they think JMU's not going to come into Eugene and beat us. Otherwise, JMU's not going to go into Eugene and beat Dante Moore and the Oregon Ducks. So I'll take Oregon in that game. All right, bring it over to the other side, and we'll start at the bottom. And you've got a rematch. Again, Ole Miss beat Tulane by a lot earlier in the season, and now Ole Miss will host Tulane in the Grove. Again, a lot has changed since then. Lane Kiffin has been the biggest douche in college football again. Man, that guy wins that award a lot. A lot does Lane Kiffin win the big douche award of college football. Well, he wins it again by just deserting his Ole Miss team to go down and take the job at LSU instead of like working that out a little differently. But still, same players out on the field, same kids playing. Ole Miss, Tulane. Does the coaching thing make a difference, or does Ole Miss do what they did the first time around?
I don't think it makes a difference in this. I don't think it makes a difference in this game. I think that Ole Miss is just still the better talented roster here. We to that Georgia game, that's a different story, but I don't think that impacts here.
I think it's going to make a little bit of an impact. I think it's kind of an Ole Miss team that's kind of scrambling right now. Yeah, granted, they have 2 weeks to figure it out. Is it that I know Charlie Weiss Jr. is? I think he's staying with Ole Miss until the playoff run is over. But I think Ole Miss comes out a little bit rattled. I think Tulane keeps it close for a while, but in the end, Ole Miss is going to win. I mean, I don't know if this is going to be a 45-10 game like it was, back at the beginning of the season, but yeah, I think it's in the end, it's going to be an Ole Miss. It's going to look like an Ole Miss easy win, like a 38-24, 38-17 type of game.
Yeah, listen, Tulane. I like Retzloff, their quarterback, kind of a dual threat. I think he's got like 16 rushing touchdowns on the year.
Yeah,
I think he's their leading rusher. And of the two group of 5 teams that are in, I think Tulane is the more deserving team. I think they played a little bit of a tougher schedule, and that convincing win in the conference championship over North Texas was big for them. I don't see it. It's a very talented Ole Miss team, the 6th ranked team in this, and I just don't think I don't think I think there's too much of a talent disparity for Tulane to get past it. I think Ole Miss moves on. I want to throw Phil in here because he went to Tulane. He's calling Tulane winning the game, and he's banking on the fact that college football coaches are important, and they have a big effect on outcomes. So that's what Phil says. So he's picking his alma mater, Tulane. All right.
You want to play a quick game? How did Jake Retzloff violate the honor code at BYU and get kicked out?
So much soaking.
Oh, God, too much.
He had a Dr. Pepper after practice.
God, what an asshole.
It is having a Dr. Pepper after practice.
What an asshole.
It is a thing. He did admit to premarital sex. Not allowed to do that. You're only allowed to soak, Jake.
Well,
soaking only.
Premarital soak? Fine. Premarital sex? Get off the football team.
Nope. Being a normal college kid? Yeah, no, you're out.
By the way, I just stories like that make me so glad that BYU are just not in the playoff. All right, then we got the last first round matchup. The U makes it over Notre Dame, and they're going to head to Kyle Field, College Station, take on the Texas A&M Aggies, undefeated Aggies until they got to Texas, where they lost a close one at the end of their season. Texas A&M. I got to tell you, I'm going to start with this one because as an Aggie, I feel a little bit slighted. I don't know why the Aggies fell behind Ole Miss. Like we were ranked ahead of them all season, and then we lose on the road in a close game against a team that was on the bubble to make the playoffs, and we fall behind Ole Miss. And I do not understand that. I feel a little jaded, but Kyle Field's going to be a wild place. I'm also jaded by the fact that they scheduled this for this is an 11 a.m. kickoff in College Station, Texas, which is bullshit. But I'm going to make the homer pick. I think Miami has got 2 or 3 really great defensive players. Literally, their one edge rusher might be the top pick in the draft. You've got Carson Beck, who at least knows about the playoff. I think there's advantages there, but I just think A&M is a much more talented roster. I think they're going to get after them. I think they're going to score points on them, and I don't think Miami's offense is going to be able to really score points against A&M. So I am taking A&M to advance.
Sounds
This
good.
is by far the least. It's by far the least interesting playoff game of the first round. Both these teams suck. They're just
Here he goes. Here he goes, you bitch.
No, honestly, I mean, I think it all depends on which Carson Beck shows up. If it's good Carson Beck, Miami has a real shot in this game.
Fair.
But if it's the Carson Beck that folds into big situations like he does in a lot of big games, it's A&M's going to run away with this. But in the end, I think A&M's probably going to win a close one here. And I don't think Miami's offense is going to be enough. That Ruben Bain is an absolute beast on Miami's defense. So I mean, if he can get after Marcel Reed, I think that's the other key factor to give themselves a chance. But yeah, I think in the end, A&M wins.
And Joe adds all of that. Okay.
I wish we had a cricket sound. Was that
a gig 'em right there, Joe?
I said that before the chat win. So
all right, real quickly, we're going to speed it up a little bit here. So we all have everything the same. So we've all got Oklahoma playing Indiana in the second round neutral site game. Indiana, Oklahoma. How's that game go?
Man, I want to say, even beating Ohio State, I don't know that Indiana still has it in them. There's something that still makes me question Indiana. I don't think Indiana is going to run away from anybody that they play in this playoff. And after watching Indiana's suffocating defense, combined with the plays, the gamer that Mendoza and Mateer just feel kind of like the same quarterback to me when both of them are playing up to par. But both of them are playing up to their ability. But this one's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Indiana in a coin flip because Oklahoma's defense is just as smothering as Indiana's. But Indiana I think Indiana edges out Oklahoma in that game.
Joe. Oh, his mic's resetting. Okay, we'll get back to Joe.
Mic is resetting. I'm back.
Oh, there you go. Go ahead.
I think Indiana pulls this one off. I think their defense is suffocating enough for OU. I don't think OU is going to be able to put up. I mean, they're going to kind of look like Ohio State out there. We're just could not get the ball going. A lot of pressure on the quarterback. I think Indiana skates by this one. And I don't think it matters who they face. I think out of Alabama and OU, I think they win both those games.
Yep, I agree. I agree, and I agree with Chad. I think it's close. I think Indiana moves on.
I will say this. Remember Daly, though? That kid, number 8, that made that awesome defensive play in that Big Ten championship game?
Yeah.
He's out for the college football playoff.
Yeah, saw that. I think this is the most intriguing matchup of the second round, if it happens. Oregon and Texas Tech. Texas Tech with that just renowned smothering defense that they have. And I think an underrated offense going up against an Oregon team that has a really good offense and an okay defense, but a team that has kind of turned their season around and got very hot as the season has gone on. So, Joe, you were raving about Oregon, Texas Tech. How do you view this game?
I don't buy into the Texas Tech hype. I don't know. They haven't really proven anything to me this year that they could beat a team like Oregon. And I just don't see this being rather competitive at all. I think Oregon just houses this game.
All right, so I'm gonna take the next one here because I'm the opposite of you. I am bought in on Texas Tech. I think that defense is absolutely for real. I think they are shockingly good on that side of the ball. And I think their offense, like I said before, is better than people give them credit for. I actually think quite comfortably, and I don't mean like they're going to run away with the game. I think it'll be a close score, but I'm quite comfortable in my prediction that I think Texas Tech beats Oregon in this game. So, Joe, this is our first disagreement. Joe, you've got Oregon. I've got Texas Tech. Chad, break the tie.
I've been bought into Texas Tech for a while. I mean, if anybody remembers like these previews of these brackets that we've been doing ever since it's come out. I love Texas Tech, right? I love their defense. I think it's just as smart. Jacob Rodriguez is a Tasmanian devil on that side of the ball. Baron Morton and the weapons that he has. I think Texas Tech is an elevated version of Oregon. And so I think Texas Tech is going to run away with it. Not run away, but I think Texas Tech is going to win that one.
That's what I meant. Like I'm pretty comfortable in saying it, but I think it'll be close. But comfort. Okay, so we're gonna as a show give that one to Texas Tech. All right, then we're gonna have Georgia and Ole Miss. That's a rematch too, and that's a rematch of what was a very good game in between the hedges there in Georgia. Ole Miss went and lost by 1 score to Georgia in a kind of a shootout game that happened there at Georgia. Now we're going neutral site, which I think ordinarily would make people think the pendulum swings a little bit more towards Ole Miss, but now we start maybe to see the effects of the coaching turmoil and what comes behind it. So, guys, Chad, you lead us off. Ole Miss, Georgia.
Well, I mean, if I remember that game correctly, Ole Miss was up like big in that game, and Georgia had to come back in that football game to beat them. So, I mean, I think Pete Golding, who was the defensive coordinator for Ole Miss, is going to have a better game plan going this time. And I think Ole Miss is going to come out firing on all cylinders in that game. But I want to pick against Georgia just because I want the blue bloods like out.
Right.
I really, really, really want to pick Ole Miss in this game, but I think Georgia's peaking at the right time, and I think Georgia wins this game.
Joe?
Yeah, I think Georgia wins too. This is where I was alluding to. I think the coaching thing is going to come into play here, and Georgia's a really, really solid team all the way around. I don't know if Ole Miss can pull through on that one.
Yeah, listen, I think Ole Miss is having a great season. I think Trinidad Chambliss is an unbelievable quarterback. I think he is almost god dang near impossible to defend. I don't think defensively they're great. I think offensively they are a monster, but I think give me Kirby Smart and give me Georgia in the playoff against a team that even with monster weapons and a monster quarterback and whatever has just watched their coach just say, F you guys. And I feel terrible for the kids for Ole Miss because should they lose this game, it's entirely on Lane Kiffin. But I'll take Georgia in this game. And then that brings us to Texas A&M versus Ohio State. And look, I'm manifesting it. I've got the Buckeyes shirt on. I've got the A&M hat on. So I guess I'll lead off with my prediction of this game. And I will tell you, boys, I'm wearing this outfit to manifest this game. But on that day, at noon Eastern, I will be in all maroon and white, rooting for my Texas A&M Aggies. Even though I love the Buckeyes, A&M's my school, and I will root for them. I think A&M's got the second best wide receiver room in the country. I think A&M's got some of the best pass rushers in the country. I think A&M's quarterback is special. I think A&M has just a ton going forward. I actually think A&M has finally, they have a coach that's special in Mike Elko. And I think Texas A&M is on their way to big, big things. I just think Texas A&M's season comes to an end in Arlington against the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think I don't think A&M's defense is to the point where it needs to be to stop Ohio State the way Indiana's did. I will be rooting for them all the way, but I think Ohio State, if A&M has the second best wide receiver room in the country, Ohio State has the first. And Ohio State's defense is better. Ohio State has just so much more going for it, and I think Ohio State's going to be pissed after their loss to Indiana. So I will take Ohio State by multiple scores in this game.
That's very, very grown up of you, Mike. because I was just loading up. I was like, yeah, Texas A&M's second, third, fourth, fifth best at a lot of things, but who's better at all of them is Ohio State here. Look, in the past decade, the 2 times Buckeyes, now they've been in multiple times, but the 2 times they've won a championship, there's been some adversity going into it. Whether you're down to your third string quarterback, and you got Cardale Jones starting, whether you lose to Michigan on the last game of the regular season, miss the Big Ten championship, we got that feel this year. We lost to Indiana in the Big Ten championship, and I think that is just going to ignite this team through the playoffs. I think they're just going to be running around, taking names and
kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah, or kissing ass and taking names.
Hey,
one of those. Yeah.
Licking ass and taking names.
They're gonna roll through this, man. I think I hope it's A&M. I think it'll be a fun game, but I think this is OSU's side of the bracket here.
Came here to kick ass and chew bubble gum.
And I'm all out of bubble gum. Oh, what a movie.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State wins this one. They win this one big, and they're gonna they know how to take it up a notch, take it up 4 notches in the playoff, and I think they beat Texas A&M handily.
I agree, and I think it happens even if Miami wins. I think either one of those games, Ohio State moves on. All right. So real quickly, the Final Four, if we have it right, would be Indiana, Texas Tech, Georgia, and Ohio State. That's the top 4 seeds. That would be the opposite, by the way, guys, of what happened last year. Remember, the top 4 seeds all lost last year.
Yeah.
No top 4 seed won last year. All of them lost. And this year, we've got them all winning. So let's talk about that Indiana-Texas Tech game, the vaunted defense of Texas Tech against Fernando Mendoza and that Indiana Hoosiers team that just grits out wins. Chad, kick it off.
Well, now that Indiana's best pass rusher is out for the college football playoff, I think Texas Tech's offense is just too high powered, and I think Texas Tech is going to win that game. I think the Hoosier season comes to an end. I believe so much in that Texas Tech, the most expensive roster in college football. I think that defense is going to get after Mendoza. I think they're going to be well prepared. They're well coached, and I think Texas Tech wins that one in a close one.
Joe.
Yeah, Texas Tech, they're not even in this game. This is Oregon, Indiana. Oregon's going to win this game. Real over shootout.
Joe, get back to what we have done. Texas Tech, Indiana.
Oregon, man. I got Oregon in the final.
Just let it go. Let it be. Let it go.
All right. I'm with you, Chad. I picked Texas Tech in this game. I would stick with them in this game. I think the defense is just unbelievable. So, and I agree with you too, that I think there's going to be a moment in time where the way Kurt Cignetti does things, his team's going to be feeling themselves a little too much. And a team like Texas Tech's going to come punch them in the mouths, and they're not going to know what to do about it. So I will take Texas Tech to reach the college football final. Then we get Blue Bloods all the way on the other side, the Ohio State Buckeyes, the Georgia Bulldogs. The last time we saw this team in the playoffs, it was Ohio State missing a game-winning field goal at the end of the game on a New Year's Eve game that sent Georgia into the final. And so we got a rematch of that game. How do we see Ohio State, Georgia shaping up?
How many years do we have Fielding still? Is he going to be gone after this year? I hope so. I'm so sick of him. He's just a horrible kicker. Just misses every single kick in a critical game. Man, dude. It's Ohio State's year. I mean, I don't think any SEC team is going to stand in the way of them. I think this side of the bracket's weak. I think Georgia's a really good, solid team, but Ohio, just like the A&M conversation, is just better at everything.
With how well Georgia's playing football lately, I reluctantly pick Ohio State in this game. Okay. I don't reluctantly pick Ohio State in this game because Georgia's defense is not like the Georgia's defense of these, the past.
Nope.
Right. So I think Ohio State's going to be able to put up some points on this Georgia defense. And I don't know. I've never been impressed. Ever since who was it? The Adonai Mitchells. Ever since the what the hell was that little dipshit's name that we didn't like? The like 7th-year quarterback. What the hell was his name?
Oh yeah.
It was something. It was something real SEC like. It was like Sterling Morton or
Ryder, something like that. Or
ever since those years, their offense just hasn't felt the same to me. So I think Ohio State's going to be able to do just enough and win this one in a thriller. Not by Jaden Fielding's leg, but they're going to win this game.
That was a lot of great analysis. Stetson Bennett is who you were thinking of.
Oh yes, no Stetson Bennett.
I don't disagree with a lot of your analysis. I go 37-20 Buckeyes. Georgia isn't that team this year. They're not that level of team. And again, I think we've got angry Buckeyes. And we saw it last year after a loss to Michigan. And I think we're going to see it again. And I know Paul Keels says that he doesn't see a lot of difference in Ryan Day, but I still do. And I'm ready to see how they bounce back. And so, Chad, you and I have the Buckeyes and Texas Tech in the final. Joe, you've got the Buckeyes and Oregon in the final. So why don't you lead us off? Do the Buckeyes win, or does your Oregon bracket that doesn't match what we're doing here win?
No, I love this type of matchup. I feel like this is like a new, like fresh Big Ten rivalry that we have brewing here between us and Oregon. They have every time they've met over the past 4 years, it's just been a great game. Very competitive on both sides. I don't think anyone can match up to Ohio State's defense. I just don't see that in this bracket at all. I don't think Oregon or Texas Tech are an exception, that they're going to run the score up on Ohio State. So if we can take care of take care of the ball on the offensive side and put some points on the board, this is Ohio State's bracket.
Chad.
You talk about Ohio State's defense, and everybody wants to, give Indiana their flowers for winning the Big Ten championship game. And I'm like, yes, they deserve it. They deserve every bit of flowers that they do, right? But the one thing that I don't think is really talked about is Ohio State's defense. Ohio State's defense only gave up 13 points to a team that has been blowing the doors off of everybody on the schedule this year. They only gave up 13 points to the number one team in the nation. And that's going to play a huge part in this game. And Ohio State wins this one going away.
I agree with you 100%. I think Texas Tech, what a run that they went on. And I think Ohio State shows them what it takes to win a national championship. And I think Ohio State beats Texas Tech. Now, Phil said this in the comments. It feels like it's fate that Ohio State will play Indiana in the college football championship. And maybe that would be awesome. That would be awesome. And I will tell you, if Ohio State played Indiana in the national championship, I'm taking Ohio State by more than 10. Give me Ohio State and the points in that game. And I would feel bad for Kurt Cignetti and his Indiana bunch for what would come for them from Ohio State. And I know that's a lot of shit talking from a team that just lost, but we've seen this from Ohio State before. We've never seen it from Indiana. So there's a backing to it. So anyways, I think it would take a lot. Oh, I don't want just me on there. I think it would take a lot for any team to take out Ohio State, and I think they're going to march their way to a title. So that's our playoff preview. And now that we are marching to 10:40, we're going to get out of here by 11. But we've got a couple things to talk about. First of all, as we get away from college football, let's do our assholes of the week really quick. So who wants to lead off?
I will. It's Notre Dame for me.
Yeah.
It's Notre Dame. The whole fucking guaranteeing them a spot next year if they're in the top 12, it's bullshit. I know Paul said it's easy to knock on Notre Dame, but it is easy to knock on Notre Dame for this because they're the only ones doing it. Oh boy, that came up quick. Just because they cried the loudest. They're a brand name that cried the loudest. You're going to guarantee them a spot next year. It's bullshit. They shouldn't get special treatment, right? Yeah, I don't care. It's not 1945 anymore. I've lost respect for Marcus Freeman over it. I've lost respect for the leadership of Notre Dame over it. And now you're trying to blame the ACC for damaging a relationship and blah, 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 blah. Get in a conference in football, you assholes.
Yeah, totally agree. That was going to be mine, Chad, as well. And the bullshit cherry on top of all this is Notre Dame's schedule next year. I don't know if you've looked at it. But we'll go through just real quick. Wisconsin, Rice, Michigan State, Purdue, North Carolina, Navy,
Nice.
Miami, could be a good game. Boston College, SMU, Syracuse, Stanford, USC. So there's 2 top 20 teams in that mix. Not even top 10, top 20. And the rest are cupcake games. So this team is, no doubt, a 2-loss team next year. And it's just like, do it like the rest of us. Why are we allowing this?
They're playing the majority of ACC teams on their schedule. Join the ACC, for God's sakes.
Yep.
You're in the ACC in every other sport. You're in your school except for fucking football. Join the ACC.
You know what's funny is they had the audacity to come out and blame networks for the fact that they're not in the playoffs. And the only reason you're even in discussion for the playoffs are the networks. So shut up. Yeah. And go enjoy no bowl. You should have gone and enjoyed some kind of bowl, but enjoy nothing. But I agree with you guys, Notre Dame. I've got 2 assholes of the week. My first one needs no discussion.
Glory to God, we were never supposed to be in this position, but by the glory of God, the great coaches, great teammates, everyone we have around us, we were able to pull this off. Whoever thought the Hoosiers would be here, but now the Hoosiers are flipping champs. Let's go!
You guys call yourself a bunch of misfits who found the right home at Indiana. Why was this the right place for this group?
It's the right place for process-oriented. We're going day by day, whether it's the offensive line, the defense, the coaches, special teams. We're all process-oriented to one goal. That's our thing, is we're brothers. We can drag teams into the deep end because we know that we're going to stick together and we're the strongest glue ever.
What a bitch.
You're the strongest glue ever? Shut the fuck up. Jesus.
Processing what?
I don't know. He doesn't know what he said. That's
processing orange? It's not like he said processing orange.
That's Fernando Mendoza, and that's why I don't want him to be drafted by the Browns. So he's an asshole of the week. That was terrible.
He's not.
My other asshole
Kirk Cousins had some cocaine.
Yeah, just a gross interview. Stupid. My other asshole of the week, and boys, I'm gonna shed light on something, and I feel like we need to be the bastions of light on this because I don't mean to be too nitpicky to a situation, but I think light needs to get shed on this situation. I've been recently in several situations where I've had to be in like public restrooms, right? Like we went to the Cavs game the other night. We've done some high school football games where I've been in public restrooms. I've been in quite a few public restrooms lately, and I've noticed this trend that's starting to fucking bother me like crazy. And I'm sorry to call you, if you're in this group, I'm sorry to call you out, but it says more about you than it says to me if you're triggered by this. My real asshole of the week is the fact that I think probably 60 to 70% of men that I see in public restrooms do not wash their hands.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so gross.
Gross.
Yeah.
It's an outrageous situation.
Yeah.
And especially like I was at a Cavs game the other night and I had Patrick in the bathroom with me, and some dude comes out of the stall that was taking a dump.
Yeah.
Like he was in the stall a hot minute. He was pooping. And he put his fingers right around his ass to wipe it with the toilet paper, obviously. But like your fingers are still right up on your ass right there. And he just walks out and just leaves the bathroom. And like, I don't know, for me, like as a guy, like, you shake hands a lot. You like, there's a lot of things you do with your hands. You can't for 15 seconds just spray some soap and water on your hands and just like take a hot second and wash your hands. This is, I believe, a pandemic amongst men. Wash your goddamn hands. Like, what are we doing here?
Look, if not for literally touching your junk in the bathroom, and that should be reason enough to wash the hands. You're touching so many things. Like give your body a chance and just like get rid of some of the grossness, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and then there's the guys that, I mean, there's the half-assed attempt, right? There'll be guys who will like put their hands just underwater for like 2 seconds and think that's good enough.
Well, it's better. It's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing. But yeah, no, I can't tell you how many times that I'll be taking a dump myself, and I'll hear someone come out of the other stall, not hear the sink run, and I'm like, oh, what?
They just walked out.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's unhygienic. Come on, dudes, let's go.
Like, forget about other people for a minute. Like, do you know how many times? Look at Joe right now, touching his face. Do you know how many times just throughout the course of the day I'll just be like touching my face, or like
rubbing your eye,
whatever, or like I got to pick something out of my teeth, or whatever. What are we doing here?
Right.
Wash your hands. It's not inconvenient. The whole place is set up for it to be convenient. The soap is right there, the sink is right there, the paper towels are right there. Just wash your hands. Just
do it.
Even if you just took a leak, wash your hands. Like, use it as an excuse to wash your hands.
Yeah.
It's wild, and it needs to be called out because, again, if you're a man and you're listening to this and you go to sporting events or concerts or whatever, you know that I'm not lying. The majority of men that you see in a public restroom do not wash their hands. And that is outrageous. It's outrageous.
Yeah. No, completely agree.
I got one more, and this might transition us. Kevin Stefanski, or Tommy Reese, whoever called the play. Will the play caller please stand up and tell me what the fuck was that second or 2-point conversion play?
All right, so
why are you not giving Shedeur a chance in a season where you are grooming him into a starting quarterback to make a play to win the game?
I think there's a lot to unpack there, but yes, you did just transition us into our what really is going to be our last topic. I had a whole bunch of stuff. I researched baseball stuff. Pete Alonso is with the Orioles now.
Crazy. That's so crazy.
Edwin Diaz.
Diaz
is out with the Dodgers.
The rich get richer.
Still waiting on Schwarber back to Philly. Like, there's a lot I was
going
to get into.
Might be dealt here in the next day or two.
What happened?
Scooball might be dealt in the next day or two.
Yeah,
we'll see. But we gotta go to the Browns. And you know what? I'm gonna agree and disagree on a lot of things, I think, with what you said there, Joe. But let's just jump right into the play calling. The Browns lose to the Tennessee Titans, a Tennessee Titans team that had one win coming into the game, but really I think came in with a great game plan. And there's a lot of reasons why the Browns should be scolded and fucking punched in the mouth for this game. But let's go to the big topic, which is, well, there's a couple of them, but the one you brought up, the Cleveland Browns were down 14. Shedeur Sanders drives them down the field. They score a touchdown on he rushes. That was his 7-yard rush. And they decide to go for 2, which I didn't like that. And they don't get it. And I had people yell. I said something about it on Twitter. I had people yelling at me. Well, when you're down 14 late in the game, it's very common for teams to go for 2. Yeah, just because it's common doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. Kick the field goal. Kick the extra point. Get your point. Go in and make a stop and give yourselves a chance to either tie or win the game. That's what I don't like. What I don't like about going for 2 on the first touchdown is if you don't get it, you have to go for 2 on the second one. What I'd rather have seen them do is kick the extra point on the first touchdown. And then if you score another touchdown, you have the choice. Do you want to go for the win and go for 2? Or do you want to go for the tie and kick the extra point? That's the thing that I think so many people didn't talk about. And so many people, they were arguing with me on Twitter. Well, this is what you do. This is what you do. No. Kick the extra point on the first one. Go score another one. And then if you want to go for the win, I don't have a problem if you don't get it on the second one because you're going for the win. But now, with the way they did it, you forced yourself into having to go for 2. And then you talk about the play call, Joe. And I agree with one thing and I disagree with another thing. Here's where I disagree with you, Joe. I think it was a great play call. It was wide the fuck open.
Yeah.
Quinshon Judkins completely fucked that up.
I agree, but that's not my issue with the play call.
Well, no,
Great
and that's
play call.
fair. That's fair, and we'll get to the second part. Quinshon Judkins fucked it up.
Yep.
That was wide open. If he would have just pitched that ball, that is a walk-in 2-point conversion, easy.
Kept his eyes on the corner for too long.
The play call was beautiful as far as what it was. But I agree with you on this, Joe. That kid showed you something in that game. Yeah. 2 long touchdown drives to give you a chance to either tie or take the lead in that game. Give him a chance from the 2 to give you that two-point conversion. Give him a chance. I haven't killed them for running the Wildcat and bringing them off the field when they get close because it's worked. Because it's worked the first couple games that he's played. But in this game, give the kid a chance. Give the kid a chance. I agree with you that I do not like pulling Shedeur off the field. I don't care about, but the play call itself was a good play call. It just was mishandled by the players on the field.
I totally agree with that. I think going into this game, like I think I said it last week, like I want Shedeur to be like, you should be playing above average in this game for it to be a successful game. And he more than fulfilled his side of the contract there. Just an incredible performance for a rookie. Again, not the best Titans defense. So, like, you're going to have really inflated numbers here, but, like, he had really inflated numbers. And, like, you know, like you said, Mike, he had 2 very long touchdown drives. He was very composed in the pocket. A couple of times he had to get out of the way, but, like, he did phenomenally. And all that I think I needed to see from that game with the Titans. But he's a young quarterback. Give him the chance to make a play. Like, how, and if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. But, like, you're not going to ruin his career by having him miss a 2-point conversion that's at his hands. Don't get it. He got you there.
Yeah, I mean, he was the best player on the field for you that day, offense and defense.
Mm-hmm.
Shedeur was the best player on the field for you that day. So
thank you.
Yeah, I agree with your points, Mike. Like, I don't have a problem with the play call because if you look at the coach's cam of that play call, it was Quinshon Judkins pitches that like he should have. I don't know who the pitch man was, but he was gonna walk into the end zone.
I think it was Larvadan.
But yeah, you give him a chance, right? I mean, he was rolling. He was rolling in that game. So I don't know why you wouldn't keep him on the field and give him a chance to get the 2 points. So yeah, that's it. I mean, it's I said it last week and it held true, right? You know, he did what I thought he was supposed to do. Yeah, he did play kind of beyond that, but this is a Titans defense you should have been able to roll up some numbers on, and he did exactly that. He exceeded expectations last week. So I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do in these last 4 games. We have 4. We have 4 games.
People are like afraid to say this, guys. I am thrilled with what he did.
Yeah.
I said this on the last show, and I'm going to say it here. With these kind of quarterbacks, guys that are polarizing, and I really think through no fault of his own. He hasn't done anything to be polarizing, but he is. It's like you can't say anything. People will jump down your throat. You can't say anything positive about him without somebody being like, yeah, but that interception. Well, yeah. Do you know how many times you could say that about Brett Favre? Or like, do you know how many times you could have said that about Aaron Rodgers or what? And I'm not saying that he is that, but like, we've got to knock it off with like, you can't say good things without bringing up the bad things he did. Yes, he threw a terrible interception. That interception was really bad. And he took, I think, 2 horrendous sacks in the game. But like, other than that, Shedeur Sanders is the only reason you were even in that game at the end. He was. Chad, you put it perfectly. He was your best player. Shedeur Sanders walked out onto the field and was your best player.
Yep.
Some of the throws that he made, he should never stop getting love for that throw he made to David Njoku for a touchdown. That was unbelievable. That throw to Harold Fannin, for 40 yards down the sideline was a perfect throw. How about the throw that sprung Jerry Jeudy for a touchdown? In stride, past the traffic, perfect.
Yeah.
This dude, I know it's not a great defense, but it's not like they don't have things. Like Simmons wrecked the Browns all game long. This dude showed me in this game that he can be that guy. And I've seen flashes of it. And most importantly, what I've seen is growth out of him. I feel like every week he looks better. And that includes the San Francisco game. That's a good defense, but I think he looked fine in that game. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here. But at the same time, this guy right here on the screen, number 12, can win a lot of football games in the NFL the way he plays.
Yep. Pair him with the defense that didn't show up as much as we'd like them to have last week, but like has shown up all season regardless in a lost season otherwise. That's a pretty good combo. Now, I think there's still glaring issues of the offensive line, the talent in the wide receiver room. But if you can just have just a semblance of confidence in your quarterback going into next season, build that now. Put him in positions to win. Give him chances to prove himself, which they didn't do, but he put him in positions to win last week.
So Chad, Joe, what does he have to do these last 4 weeks? Here's my question. What does he have to do these last 4 weeks for you to go into the offseason going, that's my starter next year?
Easy. Be the reason we win one game. We're going to set that bar real low. But
that's fair, though.
Was the reason we were going to win that game until it was out of his hands. Be the reason you win the game.
Just continue growing. I mean, these last 4 games, he's probably not going to have the stat line. He's not going to have the stat line that he did against Tennessee. But just continue to grow, right? Just continue making good decisions. Just continue, right? Just show me that you're, getting rid of the hero plays, right? Show me that you're not, you're going to be more willing to throw the football away, making good, when you're in trouble and nobody's open, right? I just want to see continuous growth. And if we win a game, fine. But I'm hoping my hope is that he can be the guy, right? That he shows us that he can be the guy, and then we continue to lose these games and we get the top draft pick.
We ain't gonna get that, but
yeah, that's fine. But that's all my hope. That's all my hope is. I just want to see continuous growth, and I want to see that which will. It's not going to give me hope because again, I'm not gonna sit here. I'm not gonna back down on what I've said. I'm not gonna sit here and get fooled. Right? He's got to show me consistency going into next year. But that's the way he can at least make me hopeful going into next year is just continuous growth.
But here's the thing. This is why I asked the question. And I know I accidentally started with this on the screen for the show. But imagine they go into next year and you don't feel like you have to take a quarterback in the first round. Which again, Mendoza maybe is going to be a good pro quarterback. I'm not real sold on him being a great pro quarterback. I'm not real sold on any of these dudes being great pro quarterbacks. So let's say Shedeur shows you these last 4 weeks enough to make you feel like I want to give that guy a season as a starter. This is why I did this. Imagine this. And again, I have not studied some of these dudes. So if you want to insert other names, go for it. But imagine something like this is your draft. And imagine you come up at 4 or 5 or whatever, and you take Jordan Tyson, who I think is the best wide receiver in this draft. He's the only reason Arizona State won any games this year. And then let's say you get to 27, and Mekhi Lemon's there, and he's one of the 3 best wide receivers, or Casey Concepcion, or you find a way to get Carnell Tate, or whatever, however you want to do it. But let's say you do your top 4 picks and you come away with 2 stud wide receivers and 2 good offensive linemen. Does that not just put this roster in a significantly better place? If Shedeur Sanders is a guy that you feel like you can run it back with for the next couple of years, but now all of a sudden next year he's throwing the ball to Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, Jerry Jeudy, Harold Fannin, David Njoku, if you can bring him back, and now he's got guys blocking him that are better than the offensive line he has now. That puts me, if I see that Shedeur Sanders that I saw this week, I would rather have that along with this that's on the screen than Ty Simpson.
Yeah, 1,000%. I would rather not. I would rather not have to take a quarterback in this year's draft, right? Especially with how heralded this class was going into this year and the way it's turned out. Yeah, I would rather Shedeur look like the guy and not us not having to take a quarterback in this draft, either where you don't feel like you have to. And if the draft turned out like this, yeah, that is the talent influx that you're looking for, right? Jordan Tyson has number 1 receiver written all over him. Mekhi Lemon has Puka Nacua written all over him, right? And then you solidify that offensive line, and you're going to have to redo that interior as well. Like if you can give me these 2 tackles and then do kind of like a Bears rebuild in the middle of the offensive line, make some trades. You surround Shedeur with everything that he needs to be successful, and all he would have to do is just go put the work in and execute. Yeah, absolutely. I would much rather this be the case going into this offseason rather than looking at another quarterback.
Hot take. Shedeur could suck and not be the answer by the end of the season. This is still the draft we need. You do not need a quarterback in next draft, period. Like at all. Shedeur could suck. Find somebody else. Put anybody in there. This offensive line and this wide receiver room needs retooled. That is 1A priority, regardless of the quarterback play. That should be the draft. Doesn't matter how the rest of the season ends, in my opinion.
Don't agree with that, but I mean, I agree and disagree with that.
I mean, what, you just want another project? Like, we don't need any more projects. Find somebody, find a backup. Just pull in Kenny Pickett would have been sufficient.
Joe, nothing else matters in the NFL until you have your quarterback.
It's true, but you've got to make sure you've got your quarterback. Like, I also agree and disagree. If you feel like Fernando Mendoza is a surefire, easy franchise QB, that's a whole different thing. I just, in my head, I don't. And I don't think Ty Simpson is an easy franchise QB. And I don't know that guy exists in this draft. So where I do agree with you, Joe, is if you don't feel that, let's roll it with Shedeur again next year. He's showing you he's showing you so much, even if he's not great at the end of this year. He's showing you that he can be productive in the NFL.
Yep.
And let's give him a shot with more weapons if you're not convinced that Fernando Mendoza is the dude, which, by the way, he's not even going to be there by the time you pick anyways.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. So that's all I wanted to talk about. The Browns playing the Bears in Chicago on Sunday. Who knows how that game is going to go? The Bears are 9-4. It's a good Bears team. They run the ball well. I definitely expect to see the Browns play the run better than they did against Tennessee. I think they kind of took Tennessee. I think they just figured they weren't going to run the ball like that, and they did. I don't think the Bears are going to have a great running game against Cleveland Browns. And with the Browns, it all just goes to one thing. The Browns would probably have 4 more wins this year if they would just stop giving the team that they're playing the ball on their side of the field. That is what the Browns do. Again, against the Titans this week, they had an 8-yard drive for a touchdown and then a 30-yard drive for a touchdown and like a 50-yard drive for a touchdown. The Browns have to just like maintain field position on some level, and they'll win a game or two by the end of the year. But it'll be a tough one. This is a good Chicago Bears team. It's a good defense. They are the number 1 team in the NFL in plus minus on turnovers. those defensive backs. This, I think, is a great test for Shedeur Sanders because these defensive backs and linebackers for the Chicago Bears intercept teams like nobody else does. And I think this is a really good test for Shedeur, as long as his guys just make plays for him.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think this is a really good Chicago's Bears team this year. I think they're in winner go home mode right now. That's a very crowded NFC playoff picture. They have to win out to not even guarantee they're in the playoffs, but like to have a shot and have some things happen. So this team's going to give you your best. It's going to be a typical Browns game. I mean, we're going to give up a special teams touchdown or a massive return. We're going to fumble the ball on our own 15-yard line. And our defense is going to play great. It's going to be probably 35 to 17 Bears, but I think what I'm looking for is Shedeur to again build off of something what you did last week, and do not from the coaching perspective, like give him opportunities to flex himself to be successful. Don't take him out if the game's on the line. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we lose this game. Do not take him out if the game's on the line. Give him a chance to win it.
Bear down, baby. Bears are going to win this game. I mean, there's going to be some sort of critical mistakes, whether it's special teams or whether it's the Bears defense are going to make a play. Something's going to happen where the Bears are going to win this game. But hopefully, like I said, I'm hoping Shedeur is able to is able to look good. Again, I want him to look good the rest of the season, and the Browns lose these games. That's what I want for the rest of the season.
I think that's fair. I think the Bears win. I think it's very close. Again, the Browns defense is much better than what we saw against Tennessee. I think they lapsed. I don't think they're going to lapse against the Chicago Bears. But again, I think the difference in this game will be the Bears are going to take the ball away from you once or twice, and it may not even be. Like Shedeur might make the right throw. That the Bears, that's how good this Bears secondary is you can make the right throw and they're still going to turn you over. But I'm with you guys. Let Shedeur look good. I think the Bears win this game, but I think it's like 21-17. I think it's going to be a slugfest in Chicago at Soldier Field. So that is that. And boys, let's do our last segment and get out of here. And our last segment is just our cheers of the week, where we go around and just give somebody cheers that deserves it. And I'll kick us off on this one. I'm going to give a cheers to the entire country of Australia. I just think that this is cool. As somebody that's raising kids and as somebody that's okay with my kids being on technology and whatnot, I also worry about how that's going to affect them. So I'm going to give a shout out. It was big news across the world this week, but the country of Australia banned social media for kids under 16. And I think that's fine. I think that's cool. There's a lot that goes into social media that I think you need to be a little bit more developed for, because I think if you're not, it causes a lot of issues. And Australia said, yeah, you know what? When you're 16, go ahead and jump on social media. Until then, play games. Maybe watch like YouTube Kids or something, but like stay off it. I'm giving it cheers for that. I think that's great.
Nice.
Chad.
My cheers goes to Deion Sanders. I loved watching the clips of him like going to the Browns facility and into the building and see his son up there and just be like a proud dad. But I think it's just cool as shit that an NFL Hall of Famer too was like, he's not. I know he doesn't care about the Browns, but like cheering for the Browns by association, right? Like yes. I thought those clips was just cool as hell. Like when Shedeur made that dime to Judy, and he was like, "Run!" I think it's just cool as shit watching Deion root for the Browns.
Yes, that was awesome. Joe, wrap it up. Cheer of the week.
People that just over decorate for Christmas. We went to a house last night that was like one of the houses that was in like the Christmas light fight show, and like. Oh, yeah. It is so much work and money to put something like that on. And like, I just think it's super cool to like go visit those. And like, you see like, maybe set pieces and just really cool, like light structures and train setups and stuff. And like that is just like, I don't know. It's fun. I like when people get in the spirit like that. And obviously not everyone celebrates or decorates, but for those that do, it's very fun when they go all out. As long as it's not like my neighbor.
Yeah, right. So you're not like the neighbors from Christmas Vacation. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it. As this episode, this was very easy to talk a lot about a lot of things, but we're going to save some things, I guess, for next week. But last thing we're going to do is just give out some thank yous here on episode 293. First, thank you goes out to our special guest, Paul Keels, for joining us, the radio voice of the Ohio State Buckeyes, the legendary voice of the Buckeyes. And what a great time we had talking with him. So big shout out to Paul Keels. Big shout out to the OBR for hosting us. The Orange and Brown Report is the oldest, largest independent Browns coverage site in all of Cleveland. So get over to the OBR.com, hit subscribe. You will not regret it. It is the best stuff you're going to get regarding the Browns. And then you get to hang out with us on Wednesday nights as well. So big shout out to the OBR for hosting us. And as always, our biggest thank you goes out to all of you. The comments were a blast tonight, even though now I'm hungry. But everybody that joined us in the comments tonight, thank you. If you didn't catch us tonight, remember, you can always watch us on demand on YouTube, Twitch, or you can get over to Apple, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts, and you can tune in to us there. That's going to do it for episode 293. For Joey over there in Seattle, for Chad on the east side of Cleveland, I'm Michael Keefe. Go follow the show at The Garage Beers on all the socials, and we'll see you next week for episode 294. Until then, cheers, everybody.